Keith, we've been talking a lot about the storm that's coming up tomorrow. Is it your impression that the more damage is going to be along the coast and that just inland will be mostly snow?
Definitely. And like in the areas in between that are not in the heavy snow and not along the coast, this, I don't want to say it's nothing. It's not a huge deal though.
Okay.
It's a little bit of wind, it's a little bit of rain and snow.
But
it's the coast. Yeah.
Has to be concerned. Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
and the mountains might be happy. You know, I mean, they're the only
Sure.
ones who have been doing like positive stuff over these last two storms. Here's a look at it. It has a very similar presentation here on the radar, just south of Chicago, where that low is closed off. Not as much severe weather as our last one, not as occluded, wrapped up as our last storm system, but otherwise similar path, similar style of storm. And even when you look at the watches and warnings map, if you remember a couple of days ago, I showed you one that was just lit up, right? There was all kinds of colors on it. This one we're focusing, coastal flood warning. That's in the shaded green, the entire coastline here. Winter weather advisory in the shaded purple areas. There is a high wind warning underneath this for coastal Washington and Hancock counties. And I don't want to downplay the wind, but I don't think it's as big of a story, or it's going to be, as the coastal flooding. So first half of tonight's fine. If you got plans, no problems. Southwest and northeast clouds come in. Midnight, you can make it to midnight, no issues. It's after midnight that the precipitation moves in. And I think over coastal Maine, southern coastal Maine, it's rain right from the get-go. Never even starts as snow. Inland, it starts as snow and then changes over to rain throughout the day, in the daytime hours here on Saturday. So this storm is more day-driven. The last one, most of it happened overnight. It's still happening, rain and snow around noon. We're changing over in Bangor at that point. Clinging for dear life to snow in the mountains at that point. They do end probably as some rain. And by 4 o'clock, the rain is done in a lot of spots, just a couple of showers, relatively mild in the low to mid 50s. So that is the same thing that we dealt with the last system as well. So our snow map is like an echo of our previous snow map, right? It's the same general contours, but lesser amounts. 6 to 10 into the mountains, and then 1 to 3, including Lewiston and Augusta, Bangor as well. There's just less moisture to deal with. Down East Maine as well, and then just rain into the mid-coast and southern coastal Maine. And the winds will be strongest during the daytime tomorrow, in the morning mostly. Out of the east-southeast, and we're talking about 50 miles an hour. Enough to do some power outages. We will have some. I don't see a reason to think it'll be worse than our last storm because the wind gusts were higher. So I would be very surprised if we had more outages than we did last time. But here's the problem, right? It's the high tide, astronomically highest tide of the month, plus storm surge 3.5 feet. Right now, the Portland gauge is projected to be at 14.3 feet, which would put it over its number one. It's the highest water level on record in Portland, going back to 1912. We have a similar situation if you go up the coast. I'll take you all the way up the coast to Eastport, where it's projected to come in at 24 feet and change, which is above their all-time record too. So we have a situation tomorrow where it looks like we're going to break several long track highest water level records up and down the coastline. And we're going to do that with a storm that from the inland doesn't look that ferocious. It's just a combination of that high tide and that storm surge coming together. So that's where we are, guys. I think we cool down for a couple of days after that. We've got another storm that I am watching Tuesday night, Wednesday. I will say this about it. It is either a snowstorm or it's nothing. It's either going to go out to sea or it's going to snow. So that's fine. I'd prefer that. I feel like the one after that looks like it too, where it might be just a snowstorm. So just a snowstorm.
The one last important note for Saturday, though, a lot of these municipalities, towns and cities along the coast are already saying, hey, if there were roads that flooded during the last storm, we are definitely closing them for this storm. So places like, I know Scarborough, Old Orchard Beach have already started putting out these warnings. So if you live in these areas, you may want to check in with your town about what's open and what's not.
I don't see this being better than the last storm along the coast. So, so that's the baseline.
All right. Thanks, Keith.
Thanks, Keith.